Hello 11th graders. Welcome to this week's Humanities lesson, our 6th out of 8 lessons. We are almost at the finish line. Today, our topic is creating a working thesis statement for a research paper. Now, I know that the title is long and so may seem a little intimidating. Let me assure you, though, that you need not be intimidated because most of what we'll cover under this topic are things you should already be familiar with from what you've learned in your classes, a Barcel ASAP, and here on Google Classroom. You know what a research paper is, and while you might not be familiar with the term working thesis statement, you should have some idea about what a thesis statement is. So, what if you already know so much, will you get out of this lesson? By the end of the lesson, you'll walk away with 3 things: a reminder of what a thesis statement generally is, an understanding of the difference between a working thesis and final thesis statement, and an explanation of what a good research paper thesis statement looks like. Okay, let's get down to business by starting, as we usually do, with a do now. For our do now, we are going to drop the working out of working thesis statement and simply define what a thesis statement is. Go to the quiz attached to this week's lesson and answer this question. A thesis statement is a 1 or 2 sentences usually appearing in the introduction of an essay or paper that you will have 4 options. Those options are A. Makes a claim about a particular topic, B. Gives an outline of the argument, C. Makes a claim about a particular topic, indicates how it's supported by evidence, and outlines how it will be argued, and D. Informs a reader about the evidence for a particular topic. Pause the video now. The answer to the do now is C. A thesis statement is a sentence or 2 usually appearing in the introduction of an essay or paper that makes a claim about a particular topic, indicates how you'll support that claim with evidence, and outlines how you'll argue your claim. I am sure that many of you knew C was the answer as soon as you heard it or saw it on the quiz. Still, it wouldn't hurt to think about why C is right and the other options are wrong. Simply put, A, B, and D are wrong because they are partial. Yes, a thesis statement makes a claim about a particular topic, but it must also state clearly how you'll argue for and support your claim with evidence. C is right precisely because it says that a thesis statement should achieve A, B, and D together. Some of you might wonder what I mean when I say a thesis statement makes a claim about a particular topic. This is a valid concern because the nature of what we consider a claim about a particular question will vary with the type of writing assignment your teacher gives you. For example, in a persuasive essay, your claim might be your recommendation about how others should view or what they should do about a particular issue. In a literary essay, a claim may be your interpretation of the meaning of a text or passage in it. There are many other examples, too many in fact, that I could give. So, I want to jump directly into a short explanation and example of what constitutes a good, working, and final research paper thesis statement. After that, I'll explain the difference between a working thesis and final thesis statement. What makes a research thesis statement good? It's quite simple, really. Your research paper thesis statement will be good if it offers an intelligent and complex answer to the research question you originally posed. In fact, a research paper thesis statement is just that, an intelligent and complex answer to a research question. But what makes an answer to a research question intelligent and complex? The simple though unsatisfying answer is that there are a lot of things that do, and we can't list those things here. But in general, you are on the right track if your answer, that is, your research thesis statement, meets the 3 criteria for a good thesis statement. Let's look at an example of a thesis statement that meets those criteria. Here's a topic and research question taken from our lesson on how to distinguish between a topic and research question. The topic is contemporary healthcare, and the research question is, could the continued investment in space exploration lead to improvements in healthcare. Here are the criteria for a good thesis statement. A good thesis statement must 1. Make a claim about a particular topic, 2. Give an outline for how you'll argue that claim, and 3. Indicate how you'll support that claim with evidence. Here are 3 thesis statements that attempt to answer the research question, but, respectively, only meet one of the 3 criteria. First, the continued investment in space exploration will lead to improvements in healthcare. 2. Improvements in our understanding of the human body, as well as our ability to medically treat it, are essential for safe human space exploration. And 3. NASA has been directly linked to healthcare improvements that have been implemented worldwide. We can learn more about biology and chemistry while observing humans, living organisms, and pharmaceuticals in zero-gravity environments, and technological advancements from space exploration can have a dual use for healthcare. If you want a quick enrichment activity, try to pinpoint which thesis statement captures which criteria, and feel free to post that to the Google Classroom for feedback. A good thesis statement, though, would have to combine the information given in all of those 3 thesis statements on the previous slide into one. An example of this could be, continued investment in space exploration will likely lead to improvements in healthcare because for exploration of space to be safe for humans, improvements in our understanding of the human body as well as our medical ability to treat it are essential. Indeed, knowledge gathered through NASA's observations in zero-gravity environments of humans and other living organisms' biology and chemistry, as well as the effects of pharmaceuticals on them, has already been directly linked to healthcare improvements that have been implemented worldwide. Okay, got that? So, now let's look at what is the difference between a working thesis statement and a final thesis statement. In terms of definition I gave you for what generally any good thesis statement must achieve, there really isn't any difference between them. Like a final thesis statement, a working one must contain a claim about the topic you're writing about, an outline of how you'll argue that claim, and an indication of how you'll support your claim with evidence. The only difference between the two is their timing in the research process. You write a working thesis statement near the beginning of the research process, and you write a final thesis statement at the end of your research process. What does this mean in concrete terms? One of ABARSO's 12th grade competencies requires that all 12th graders write a research paper using 10 academic sources. Take my word for it. Finding one good source, let alone 10, to answer a research question is hard. So, waiting to find 10 good sources before you formulate a thesis statement is not a good idea. Really, it's a bad idea, because a thesis statement gives your writing direction, and you can't write any good paper, let alone a research one, without direction. This is where a working thesis statement comes in. Instead of waiting until you have all 10 sources to write a thesis, you should write it after you've found at least 2 or 3 good ones, and that will be your working thesis. Of course, as you continue to write and find your remaining sources, you might find that your working thesis no longer reflects what you think about your topic or evidence. That's okay, because you can change your working thesis to reflect changes in your own views about what the evidence from your sources tells you about what the right answer to your research question is. This right answer, of course, will be your final thesis statement. With a better understanding of the difference between working and final thesis statements, you're ready to work on this yourself. To practice writing a working thesis statement, take a look at this week's assignment. We've provided the topic and research question, which, yes, is relevant to discussions going on around the world. The topic for this assignment is public health policy, and the research question is, what policies can enable the economy to reopen during a viral pandemic? In the Google Classroom, we'll provide an article that can be used to craft this working thesis statement. Specifically, we'd like you to separately write out your claim about the topic, outline how you'll argue a claim, and how it will be supported with evidence. Once that's done, you'll combine those to create your working thesis statement. We know you're writing about a topic that you've not done thorough research on, so do your best with what is in front of you. Though we imagine you've been keeping up with the news somewhat and may have some thoughts on this topic. The assignment is for your understanding of how the content of a thesis statement is structured and written out. Remember to incorporate what we've covered in this week's lesson and submit it to the Google Classroom. All right, that's it for this week. Bye, guys.